What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 284, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They sponsored all of season 4 of the podcast, so show them love at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. And finally, man, back with another episode, and luckily it's not really action-packed, which I know I'm saying luckily, but, you know, because we've had a lot of these episodes be really, really long and a lot of stuff to break down and talk about. But for this past couple of days, not really much has happened. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors of things going on, but I'm sure, you know, we'll see if a lot of those come true within this upcoming week. But Drake has officially removed the tailor-made freestyle from his social medias because, you know, Tupac's estate threatened that they would, sue. They ordered a cease and desist and said Drake had 24 hours to remove the song off his social media platforms or else they would pursue legal action. Now, over 24 hours passed, by the way, since they sent that out there. So he went over the 24 hours thing, but he does have it removed off of his social medias. But that doesn't change the fact that the songs already came out. People have heard it. People know what it was. So Drake removing it, you know, I think it's a smart move. It's not really, you know, people are clowning Drake and saying, oh, look what Kendrick got Drake to do now. Like, Kendrick's the boogeyman, and Kendrick makes people apologize and makes people remove things. I don't really view it like that. I think Drake is just kind of saying, hey, you guys get the point of the diss track. I don't care to keep it up. It's already streamed and downloaded by people already. You know, why risk getting sued when you guys already get the point of the track? That's the way I view it. He didn't release it on streaming platforms. So I mean, Drake's got enough money to the point where he could have just kept the track up and see where this lawsuit would go, because that would have been interesting. I would have loved to see kind of with this AI stuff where a lot of lawsuits could potentially go. If can you sue somebody for using AI? What are the laws around it? Because there's no specific laws relating to AI right now. There was something that was passed in Nashville, Tennessee, of artist protection rights, basically saying that you can't, use AI without the permission of the artist and their likeness and stuff like that. But I don't think that was passed like all over the place. I think that was just something that Nashville, Tennessee is like pursuing to do, like starting a kind of law, a bill or whatever to get it to go all over the place so that, more artists are protected when it comes to AI. But, Drake removed the track. So I guess, in a lot of Kendrick Lamar's fans' eyes, they view that as a win. I personally don't care. I think Drake removing it just kind of says, hey, I don't want to get into legal issues for over nothing, something that people already get the gist of. They already heard the track. They already know what it was intended to do. And then Drake's now trolling. He took like a selfie of like Compton Community College, like a shirt or a hoodie that he's wearing. People are speculating that's like trolling Kendrick Lamar. And here's the thing with a lot of social media stuff you got to be very careful of. Is people will spin narratives, and I saw with Drake wearing that Compton Community College shirt, people are saying that's where Kendrick Lamar's wife went to school at. That's not true, guys. People on social media would just spin things just to make it sound like it's a lot worse than what it is, or a lot more disrespectful than what it is, and it's not that. She never went to that school. Drake's not, making that tie there. And then there are people like breaking down the push-ups track and the Who Kid drop in the beginning of it. People were like, there's a guy on TikTok that speculated that, he's talking about Kendrick Lamar's wife and that are those kids actually his, like the Who Kid, like the Who Kid drop. Is it whose kid? That type of theories. And people like to tie in a lot of these things that they try to make a lot deeper than a lot of these things really are. Now, some things end up coming true. So I'm not saying that it's far-fetched, but you just got to be, you got to kind of be weary and, because some people reach really, really far and try to connect dots that are really, really far from each other. And it's like, it just doesn't make sense. But that's just the internet for you. I mean, right now, I'm going to go over something about Quavo and Chris Brown a little bit later. And that's another thing that people are reaching on that I'm going to break down a little bit later down the episode. But, Drake removed the track. So I guess if that's a W on Kendrick Lamar's part, then I guess that's what it is. The funny thing is Tupac is still making, all this stuff happen, even though he's passed away from all this time. He's still tormenting people and, stuff like that. So shout out to Tupac, man. Rest in peace to him. We'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything else happens related to this. Continuing on, Fat Joe has decided to weigh in on the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar battle, and I'm not really going to say much. I'm just going to play the clip and then talk about what he said after.
I mean, the original. So far, the original. There's a reason why it keeps going number one, and it's the most streamed, which is the K-Dot Future, produced by Metro Boomin. See, because they put Metro Boomin in the beef, but he don't rap. So I don't consider him being in the rap beef. Yeah, he's there giving them the beats, but I don't look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but that joint, even if they never diss Drake, it's a joint. But, yes, hip-hop beef can go real bad. And so, I don't know. I don't think Kendrick's cooking up. It don't take him 3-4 weeks to I think that's over. It don't take 3 or 4 weeks. Then the Tupac family want to sue Drake.
Interesting. So Fat Joe believes that Kendrick has kind of just doesn't want to battle anymore, basically is what he's saying. That, hey, 3-4 weeks, it doesn't take this long to record a response track, which I do agree. I think, if you're taking 2 to 3 weeks to a month to record a response track, that is a little bit excessive time, considering a lot of artists. Let's not factor in the social media thing. Even back in the day, artists would record records quick, but then they would have to wait till the album comes out because that's just the way things were released back then. You didn't have social media where you could just drop the track immediately and everybody can react to it. But, it took Drake 3 weeks, even though Drake was on tour for probably a week or a week and a half of that time frame. So, I think there's nothing, I don't think it's died down. I do think it's going to affect Kendrick Lamar's career and reputation as an artist if he does just let this die down and just doesn't respond at all. Imagine 2 months from now, we get a Kendrick Lamar album and nothing is going towards Drake and he just kind of ignores Drake. That's going to be a really, really bad look for Kendrick Lamar, and there's no defending Kendrick Lamar in that, period. I don't care what anybody says. Drake won that, and Drake is the clear GOAT of the big three or that generation, whatever you want to call it. Because if he doesn't respond, just for whatever reason, and Drake's saying, nah, we're not going to let this die down. Not like all the time that you do it. You send these little subliminal shots, and then when we get a little bit in these subliminals, you just back out, and then you disappear for a while. He's saying, nah, not this time. And there's already rumors of a third diss track coming from Drake. He's trying to three-peat this. Which there was a rumor of that back in the Drake Meek Mill days, because he dropped back-to-back, and people were saying, oh, he's going to drop a three-peat just to finish off Meek Mill. There was rumors of that back then. So I don't, I highly doubt it, but Drake's been wanting this for a while. And rightfully so, man. Once that Control verse came out, things kind of changed with Drake and Kendrick, and they've been sending subliminal shots since then. Now is the time. Kendrick, we're waiting. I have no problem waiting at least a month. To me, that's fair. I think a month is enough time to just kind of, take in the other artists' diss records, formulate a diss record that you really want to present out there. But also, if the longer you take, the higher the expectations go. It's like the Dr. Dre Detox thing, where had Dr. Dre just released Detox whenever he announced it, I don't remember when, and just released it a year or two later, the anticipation and the hype wouldn't be so big. Because at this point, I remember M saying, 2006, Detox, we're going to make Dre do it. I think on the end of Encore, the record, what's the last track on the Encore record? I forget, but it features 50, Dre, and then M says at the end of that, that's the 2004 album. He says, 2006, we're going to make Dre do it, or whatever the fuck he says. And it's never happened. But the hype for the album is so insane that if Dre dropped a Detox, album titled Detox, people would shit on it immediately because they'd be like, we waited 20 plus years for this. It doesn't matter how good it sounds, by the way. People would just shit on it just because of the wait time. And that's the same thing that Kendrick can face. If he takes way too long, if we're waiting 2, 3, 4 months for a response, 1, you let this thing die down a lot. 2, that's way too long of a response, man. We're in a social media era. We're in an era where, hey, we need something. I'm not saying fast. I don't want microwaved response like Rick Ross's Champagne Moments within 2 hours he responded. yeah, it's kind of cool that you do that. You get a little points, but it's cooler if you can take your time and formulate a better diss track and then respond. But it doesn't take, like Fat Joe's saying, it does not take weeks. Trust me, it does not take, like, look at what Pusha T did to Drake. And it took him, 2-3 days to come back with that track? So, especially because Kendrick started it with that Like That verse, you would assume Kendrick has something planned ahead of time. If you're going to go out like that, if you're going to jump out the window and diss Drake and even J. Cole, you would think he had something planned, formulated. I highly doubt he just dropped that verse and was like, oh, I'm not going to expect Drake or Cole to respond, so let me just chill and not, anticipate anything. Come on. But I do think, we got a month for Kendrick, and we're about 2 weeks, I think, 2.5 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, going on 3 weeks. So it's getting there. I think after a month, it's like, it's not that nobody will listen. People will listen. Don't get me wrong. And the thing will get hyped up again. But, I don't like, I hope Kendrick is not doing this as an album rollout. It's going to look really, really corny, man. I think if you're doing it as an album rollout, people, here's the thing. People threw Drake under that of like, oh, when he was beefing with Pusha T, it was because he had an album coming out with Scorpion. This is the problem. People don't remember history. Pusha T on Infrared on his album dissed Drake. So Drake's been used as an album rollout for quite a few actual, Meek Mill after his album came out. Obviously not before, but after, started clowning Drake, and it kind of brought more attention to Meek Mill. I don't know if it boosted his album sales, but it helped. Pusha T, same type of situation. Kanye got him into the same type of situation. Now, if we're doing the same thing with Kendrick, what it looks like is people are just using Drake as this promotion tool for their projects. And I don't like that, man. If Kendrick comes out with an album with the diss track on there, I'm not really a fan of that. I know artists do that. There are diss tracks on albums. That's happened forever in history. But it's like, it does seem like you're just reaching to get a reaction. That's what it seems like, but I don't know. Like I said, over a month, I think it's a little long of a wait. Couple of, weeks, I have no problem. I mean, Kendrick's never pressured anybody to release. People are going to say, oh, Quake, but you pressured Drake to release. Well, Drake's pressured artists to release. And he's doing it right now with Kendrick. Not this time. You can't duck down, dropping 2 diss tracks, clowning him. So trolling right now with just that Compton Community College hoodie that he wore. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted, but I don't think Fat Joe's right in this. I don't think it did die. Now it could die down in terms of buzz and hype for the moment, but I don't think Kendrick is not going to respond. If he doesn't respond, I never want to hear anything about Kendrick Lamar beefing or battling anybody. Never again. Because you can't do that. You can't call out your basically rival since your guys' whole, career started. You guys have been kind of compared about who's the best of this generation. And then when the moment happens of you to prove that you're the best of the generation, just in terms of bars and lyrically and all that, you back out of it, especially when you started it, it's going to look very bad for Kendrick Lamar. And there's no way defending that. I can't defend that. And nobody should be able to defend that. If you find a way to defend that, then you are the most hardcore Kendrick Lamar fan that, because I couldn't defend it with any artist. Doesn't matter who it is. You cannot defend that, man. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. I hope Fat Joe is wrong in assuming that, Kendrick won't respond. Updates to the Astroworld lawsuits that's been happening, and it looks like Travis Scott cannot get dismissed from the lawsuits. Let's go over the article. Travis Scott has discovered that he will remain involved as the Astroworld civil lawsuits go forward, with the first trial brought by victim Madison Dubisky to kick off next month. Rolling Stone reports that Judge Kristen Hawkins, who presides in Harris County, Texas, denied Scott's motion to dismiss as of Thursday, April 25th. Judge Hawkins issued her ruling without explanation, meaning that the civil suits are going to be permitted to go forward. Dubisky, who is suing the rapper and concert promoter Live Nation, will be the first victim to have her case heard. With her trial set to begin on May 6th, if found liable, Scott and Live Nation will be facing a court-ordered payout of billions of dollars in damages to the victims. In documents obtained by Hip Hop DX, it was revealed during the discovery phase that Dubisky, along with other defendants, will be arguing points raised by expert witnesses hired by the plaintiffs, including Daryl Darnell, the former emergency management director of District of Columbia, for the District of Columbia. Darnell's report suggests that he and other experts were warned of the festival organizers about the how can I not pronounce this word? Practicality. Jeez, man, particularly. Practicality of fitting thousands of people into a condensed concert space, and that Live Nation breached their duties and responsibilities to implement a crowd management and or crowd control plan. Yeah, we talked about this. We've been over this millions of times. Too many people in one area and not properly executed in terms of areas to be at and where to go. Whether the promoters' alleged failures extend to Scott, however, it is a matter to be determined at trial. So, yeah, the jury will have to decide, hey, does Scott have the liability that, some people are probably assuming he has. But, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. That's the first update. It looks like next month, some lawsuits are finally getting started going in terms of, in the courts. So we'll keep our eyes posted on that. Continuing on, and speaking of courts, R. Kelly updates on some of his stuff that's going on. Let's go over the article. R. Kelly's conviction for child inappropriate things, you guys know, stuff that you're not supposed to have with kids, in Chicago has been upheld by a court, and it is now likely that he will spend the remainder of his life in prison. Yeah, good. Bureau of Prisons records obtained by Hip Hop DX confirmed that the disgraced singer is being held at the medium security prison in North Carolina, and he's not due to be released until 2045, when he will be 78 years old. Additionally, the Chicago Sun-Times reports that the 2022 decision to convict him of the crime was upheld as of Friday, April 26th, and it is unclear whether Kelly has any further opportunities to appeal. R. Kelly was served his sentence in the FCI Bunter Prison, where he was transferred from Chicago back in December 2023. Wow. Last month, R. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer, claimed college fraternities could be deemed racketeering organizations under a law used to convict the singer. Yeah, it's a whole different lawsuit. They're trying to, his lawyers, he's trying to use any type of money that he has and his lawyers to basically tell a story of, hey, he's getting gypped out of this, there's this and that, people are lying at this and that, but man, you have inappropriate pictures and stuff of children, you've abused women, you've dealt with underage women, or just basically children, teenagers, like, come on, man. There's no escaping it. You deserve to rot in hell. No, you're not getting out, bro. Even at 78, if you make it to 78, you're not going to have really a great life when you get out. That's just the reality of it. I think in these type of situations, all the evidence present, him getting convicted of these things, that money, now, here's the thing. It is happening right now, but I'm saying in the future. The money that he makes from his music should no longer go to anything relating to him. Now, this is where I can kind of draw a line, or I can kind of blur the lines here. R. Kelly's kids and his family, should they be able to get the money that R. Kelly makes from the music? You could argue, yeah, because they have no fault in it. They didn't do anything. At least they didn't contribute to it. But we could also say, hey, why not bring that money to organizations to help for the things that he was accused for. So that's the thing in it. It's like, that money though right now is going to a lot of the victims. So that money is seized because a lot of these victims won in court. So they've seized all that money. So R. Kelly has no money right now. But in the future, when finally those debts are repaid, with people streaming R. Kelly's music, buying his, people are still streaming the music, buying it, whatever. Eventually R. Kelly's going to be out of those debts that he owes. And then he's going to finally start making money. But should R. Kelly get the money? That's the question. Because people are still going to stream him regardless. People are going to listen to his music. He's got classic songs, so I get it. But me personally, after kind of, finding out about all these things, it's like, as a kid, I didn't really know about the R. Kelly peeing thing in 2002 or whatever it was, 2003. And then in 2008, I wasn't really a big fan of R. Kelly, just say. So I didn't really pay attention to this stuff. Now, I heard a couple records with R. Kelly, and I was like, okay, he's cool. He's got records here and there, like Ignition. He was featured on songs here and there from some of my favorite artists. So I was like, okay, R. Kelly's got, moments of great stuff, but I never really was like a huge R. Kelly fan. Never was like, oh my God, R. Kelly's dropping a new album. I'm going to go check it out. Is he talented? Of course he is, but there's only so far talent can take you before, you do some dumb shit like this and people are just like, unfortunately, there's some people that still think he's innocent and still listen to his music. Unfortunately, we live in a society where some people just, I don't know, I guess they're such super fans of this person they just can't accept the fact that somebody could do something like this. Like I said, if I have favorite artists that get involved in anything like this, I will never listen to them again. That's just, I have a moral compass where I don't give a fuck. They're still human beings at the end of the day. Yes, did they make great music? That's part of my life. Are they talented? Yes, all those things, but I can still split the two and be like, nah, I ain't rocking with this. So we'll keep our eyes posted, but it's not looking good for R. Kelly, and it shouldn't look good. Throw away the key, man. Don't ever let him out again. Speaking of sexual assault things and stuff going on like that, Diddy. This is hilarious, man. Diddy has a hilarious argument of some of these sexual assault lawsuits. Let's just go over the article. I'm not even going to get into it right now. Diddy's lawyers have filed a motion petitioning the courts to particularly dismiss the sexual assault lawsuit brought by Joy Dickerson Neal. The motion, which was filed on Friday, April 26th, claims that the embattled bad boy mogul cannot be sued for breaking laws that didn't exist at the time. Ha! Think about that. He's saying, listen, these laws, when I was doing this bad shit, these laws didn't even exist. So how can I get convicted for this when it wasn't even, hey, listen, think about this. If what was the point? At one point, cocaine wasn't illegal, right? It was even in Coca-Cola. On the original formula of Coca-Cola, cocaine was in there. And people were doing cocaine like it was nothing. And then eventually it became illegal. So people that did cocaine back then, when it was legal and accepted, should they get convicted for doing it back then? But here's the thing that this is not dealing with cocaine. Because cocaine is something that you self-inflict for the most part. This is dealing with other people, actual people's lives that were ruined and, changed forever. So the argument there doesn't really line up perfectly, but hey, cocaine was legal back then. Now that it's illegal, you're going to charge me for something that I did back then that was legal. So he kind of has a point, but it doesn't help his case. It's basically saying, yeah, I did that shit, but it was legal back then. So why am I getting, lawsuits from this shit? Which is continuing on more specifically, the motion states that at the time of the alleged attack on Dickerson Neal in 1991, some statutes that she cites in her suit, including those around revenge porn and human trafficking, weren't yet on the books. A judge has not yet ruled on the matter. Joy Dickerson Neal claims that the rapper and producer drugged and raped her in the early 90s while also filming the act. He denied these allegations, saying that through his spokesperson, this last-minute lawsuit is an example of how well-intentioned law can be turned on its head. Miss Dickerson's 32-year-old story is made up and not credible. Mr. Combs never assaulted her, and she implicates companies that did not exist. This is purely a money grab and nothing more. If it was recorded, man, it'd be interesting to see if somebody could find that. If that's true that she was filming the act, which would be the dumbest thing. If you're gonna do something illegal, at least don't film it. At least don't have evidence, traces of evidence of it, guys. Come on, man. If you're gonna do shit like that, it's fucked up to do it. But if you're gonna do it, why would you leave traces of evidence? But in 1991, you're probably not thinking, oh, in the next 30 years, social media is gonna be around and we're gonna have easy access to a lot of things that could potentially convict people. But I'm going to give Diddy the benefit of the doubt, guys. We have to give Diddy the benefit of the doubt. As much as people don't like that, as much as people view him as guilty immediately, there hasn't been anything that's completely gotten him arrested and he's been convicted of yet. It's innocent to proven guilty. So I'm going to give Diddy the benefit of the doubt, but this doesn't help his case. He's basically saying that I've been doing this sleazeball shit for so long that, I can't get convicted for some of these things. Why not dismiss all these lawsuits? Why not battle all these lawsuits? Why not say, hey, All these are lies and blah, 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 which he's done in like a lawyer statement. Oh, these are defamation lawsuits and stuff. Yeah. The Lil Rod thing is getting like dismantled because the we talked about this on the podcast. The lawyer had a history of like suing celebrities to try to get money out of them. It's been like so the Lil Rod thing is actually looking really bad in terms of like, like lawsuit wise. But Cassie, I think Cassie is the number one, like that's the person that I'm sure the feds are like, listen, we have Cassie on our side and it's over. We're going to get Diddy on whatever. Because Cassie, I'm sure, has experienced some type of abuse, something. Because some of those videos in the old Instagram days where you could record only 15-second videos look very, very funny in the light. I've seen quite a few of those from Diddy, and they look very funny in the light now that you go back and actually look at it. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted, man. Diddy and his lawyers are gonna do everything they can to dismiss a lot of these lawsuits and just fight, for Diddy's freedom, obviously. But that's a wild thing to say. Hey, I've done this. I did this, which they didn't say I did. Like he didn't say, yeah, I did this. I actually did this, but it's old. But it just sounds like that. Like, hey, this is such a long time ago. There was no even laws in this that that you guys should be able to convict me of. But hey, man, that's Diddy's defense. So we'll keep our eyes posted on that. Continuing on, what I was talking about earlier in the podcast about misinformation on social media, I want to go over this because a lot of people got things a little twisted and confused, and people were putting out narratives out there to make Quavo look bad and Chris Brown look good, and fans are going to do that. They're going to add fuel to the fire and side with their artists and push narratives out there. But let's go over what's going on. So Quavo was performing, and this is in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And there really wasn't much of a crowd. There's barely any people there. Probably like 150 to 200 people just chilling there watching Quavo perform. And then fans were like, Chris Brown fans pushed this narrative that Chris Brown purchased all of Quavo's tickets, and that's why it's not many people showed up. It's basically the same thing that 50 got. 50 did with Ja Rule, where like, hey, Ja Rule had a bunch of empty seats, and then people were saying 50 Cent purchased all the tickets. Which 50, I think, I could be wrong with this, never really confirmed. He just ran with that narrative because it's funny. I don't think 50, here's the thing. Why would you buy tickets to help your enemy? You're basically putting money in their pocket. Yeah, there's a clown them for a little bit, but at the end of the day, hey, you helped me sell a lot more tickets. And you put money in my pocket. So it's not really a flex that people think it is. So they're basically pushing that narrative of Chris Brown. That Chris Brown did that with Quavo. That's why there's not a lot of people at these concerts. I mean, if you look at the videos, it looks like 200, maybe 300 at best people there. So let's go over the TMZ article. I just want to see what TMZ had to say about it. So Quavo's recent concerts getting attention online because the crowd looks pretty small compared to the venue, and tons of people are convinced it's Chris Brown's doing. Video from Quavo's concert in Bridgeport, Connecticut is floating around social media, seemingly showing a damn near empty venue looking more like a gig for a small artist than a former member of Migos. The crowd in the pits pressed up close to the stage with people in the back of a clot not more than 10 or 15 rows removed from the artist. It's a pretty bizarre scene, you got to say, and Quavo handles it with grace, putting on a pretty spectacular show for a lackluster audience, but the tiny crowd has people online theorizing Chris Brown may have pulled one over on cue. Folks online are pushing the conspiracy theory Chris Brown bought a ton of tickets for the show so Quavo would perform to a pretty much empty concert hall, basically as a way to embarrass his nemesis. Admittedly, it's a bit far-fetched. Chris would have spent a small fortune on Quavo's show, handing over cash to someone he hates. Stranger things have happened, we suppose. Yeah, so that's my theory too, is like, why would you give money to your enemy regardless if it makes him look bad for that show? And also, guys, remember, Chris Brown is Chris Brown. He's way bigger than Quavo as a solo act. Like, let's not get that twisted. I have no horse in this race. I'm not on Quavo's side. I'm not on Chris Brown's side. Period. I don't care about which guy wins and who wins what. For anyone to even think Quavo pulls in a concert and a tour as a solo act. Now with Amigos, with all three of them when Takeoff was alive, yeah, they could pull in people, right? But Quavo himself, he hasn't really established himself as a solo artist like that, in my eyes at least. Like, has he had a solo album that made everybody be like, oh my God, he dropped a classic, he dropped all these hits? No. At least that's from what I can remember. I don't really keep up with Quavo's career like that, music-wise. But I never really heard anything from Quavo as a solo artist that was like, wow. Offset now dropped a pretty recent album that I enjoyed. So Offset, I can say, you know what? I actually like some of his music. But Quavo, like we can't compare Chris Brown. Chris Brown's been a solo artist, building his solo name since he was fucking 16 years old. Like, come on, guys. Like, there's no comparison. What Chris Brown brings an audience versus what Quavo at a concert there's no comparison. Like, we're not going to, no, there's no comparison. We're not going to clown Chris Brown and say, he's at the level of Quavo. We're not going to clown Quavo for not being at the level of Chris Brown. Obviously Chris Brown's been doing this for a lot longer. This guy's been delivering hits since 2005, guys. So, as far as this, I doubt Chris Brown bought the tickets. Now, can Chris Brown run with this narrative and say, yeah, I did that, I clowned him? Cool, he can do it. That's the same thing 50 did with the Ja Rule thing, because I don't think 50 actually bought tickets from Ja Rule's thing. I think a lot of these events, there's a couple things that can go wrong. One, the event doesn't get promoted well. And that's really out of the artist's hands. And a lot of artists don't really give a shit to promote their events because they already get their money. They get paid for their show. Whether people come there or not, they get paid whatever they get paid. So if if an artist gets paid $50,000 a show, they get that $50,000 whether seats are filled or not. That's not their job to fill the seats. It's the promoter's job. It's the promoter's job to say, hey, we have this special artist. Come enjoy, to have some fun, get some drinks, and that's how they make their money. So it's not the artist. The artist can post on their social media, hey, I'm going to be here, blah, blah, blah. They can do one post and that's it. They don't have to do anything, So that's one thing. It could be bad promotion. Two, it could be they just don't bring in the crowd anymore like that, which happens, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I think Quavo hasn't built a solo career. I don't think to clown Quavo for that, to me at least, he hasn't built his solo career yet. If he's in his solo career 10, 15 years down the line, he's, doesn't do anything with it, then yeah, you could be like, this guy never really was an artist like that because he was only good with the Migos and that's it. You could say that. But right now, Takeoff had recently got killed, unfortunately. So Migos is never Migos again. It's never going to happen again as a group. So they got to now build their solo careers, and we'll see where they go from there. I think Offset's at a great start, but Quavo could be there too. I think Quavo has a lot of star power in his own right. So that's another thing. You can't clown these guys for they just started building their solo careers versus Chris Brown, who's had his solo career built from 2005. The third thing is, it depends on the area too, man. As much as popular as these artists are, there are some areas where they just don't perform like well in terms of ticket sales. There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's certain areas where just people are not as interested in you. If you get the bag, you go there, you get your money. That's all that matters, man. I do remember, this is back when I was living in Iowa. Me and my sister went to go see Future. This is when Future dropped the Honest album. That shit only had and I think I have video footage of it. I got to go through my phone. But that shit only had 50 people there. Were people clowning Future? Were people, oh my God, Future's not hot. Look, he's in Iowa and he's only got 50. It was about 50 people. I'm not even, I could see all the, because me and my sister were on the side. So there's this, that the concert had this middle area. And then it had side areas a little bit higher that you can, see. And we went to that side area. And I could see down, in the middle area, how many people were there. And it was about, all right, 50 maybe is a little low. Maybe 100 people. I'll give it 100. I wasn't counting them, but it was so small amount of people. Yeah, could I clown Future and be like, nah, man, he only pulled in 100 people in Iowa, but come on, man, does Iowa really dictate somebody, and does what is this area? What was the area again? Bridgeport, Connecticut really dictate if, Quavo is a hot artist or not? It's a random area, man. I don't know Bridgeport, Connecticut like that. So I could be wrong. It could be one of the most popping places ever. But I'm just saying, if Quavo did the same show in Atlanta, he'd probably have a lot of people coming out. So that also plays a factor into it. So I get it. It's fun for clowning and social media. It's a lot of jokes. It's cool, but I doubt Chris Brown bought the tickets, and that narrative that gets pushed online from fans, it is what it is. But if Chris Brown joins in on it, it's probably going to be funnier. So, hopefully he actually runs with it. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. And if anything happens with this Quavo and Chris Brown thing, Chris Brown said I ain't responded. So I don't know if we're going to get anything out of this, but it is interesting to say the least. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh my God, it's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. 50, a.k.a. Ferrari F50. So 50's obviously going to take any chance that he can to troll Floyd Mayweather. And I don't know how accurate or true this is. 50 said it was true and then removed it off his Instagram like he sometimes does. He'll chime in on things and then remove it. But luckily for me, I know that he does that, so I screenshot everything that he posts just because, he'll remove it and then it's hard to find it. I'm like, damn, it was up there. So just for like podcasts and just research purposes, I always screenshot them, have it on my phone. That way, if it's removed, it's like, hey, he did post this. So what am I talking about? Let's go over this. 50 Cent has weighed in on a shocking claim in the ongoing spat between Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis, saying he believes a belief that was allowed, that has allowed him to get in some digs of his own. So taken to his Instagram on Saturday, April 27th, the G-Unit head honcho posted some tweets from Davis, who took several shots at Fifth's friend turned foe, Mayweather, including a claim that Mayweather needed a wire in order to get home. What are we talking about here, a wire? We're talking money, wiring money to somebody, not, rope wire and stuff like that. This was a nod to a claim Davis had just made that Mayweather was being held hostage in Dubai. Yes. So let's go over the Gervonta Davis's tweets. Let me actually go on his Twitter page because I don't know if he removed it or not. Let me see. Gervonta Davis, by the way, is a boxer. For those that don't know. And let's see. He said, Floyd and him have kind of been going back and forth. And he said this. This is what he tweeted. The money looking funny like that fake ass hair on his head and face. They got Floyd's ass for real. Tell him I'll send him a wire. Let my fucking family go. Let me call 50. We got to get this guy home by Monday. 50 then posted those tweets. And then let me go on my phone to actually find the screenshot because he removed it. Posted those tweets. That Gervonta Davis tweets. And he said this. Oh, nah, this shit is real. He tagged Gervonta. Would not say no shit like that if it wasn't official. So he's saying Gervonta would not say no shit like that if it wasn't official. Me and Champ be beefing, but he's my brother. I got some money if he need it. And then 50 also followed up, and this is the kind of thing that made me think that 50 removed it and that he was just trolling. Which I didn't screenshot this. I hope he still has it up because this one I didn't screenshot. Yeah, I did not screenshot. But he basically said it's jokes. He was saying like, "No, we're just joking. Floyd is fine. He's okay." But Gervonta is saying it's real. So I don't know what's going on in terms of Floyd. Floyd has had a lot of interesting. Floyd does these things that make me question whether he's got money like that or not. And the reason why, I'm not a pocket watcher. I could care less, who's got what kind of money. But Floyd will do these weird ads on Instagram for people. Like, it'll be the weirdest shit ever. Like, hey, follow this page and you'll get a chance to win these gifts. Yeah, if you follow them, you can win these. Like, I see those type of shit from, like, YouTube influencers that, like a Logan Paul or some shit. Like, expecting, and then Floyd will go, like, in these random areas, Morocco and wherever around the world, and he'll plug, whoever there, and like he'll promote whatever. Like he's promoted so many things on his Instagram and said, buy this, blah, 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 or support this, or, if you go here, you'll get the best car rental service in Dubai. Like it's some weird things where it's like, I get your bag. Hey, if they cut you $500,000 just to make a quick 1-minute video, I guess, but it dilutes your brand. It makes people less trust what you're really endorsing and co-signing. Like imagine for me, if every podcast episode I was getting sponsored by a different company. Like it wasn't Golden Eagle, right? It was something else. Then the next podcast was something else. You guys really want to, like support it or take it serious. You guys would be like, what the fuck? This guy's just getting money on every single podcast and promoting whatever the hell, that, he wants to make money off of. It's like, it's not genuine. It's not real. I have never co-signed any like sponsorship deal that I don't actually use myself. I think, what was one deal that I actually disagreed with that I did? There was one that I was like, nah, I shouldn't have done that deal. I know some people give me flack for that deal that I did, the nicotine gum, but I don't think people understand what that is. Like people that were giving me flack for it didn't understand that the nicotine gum was something to get people off of cigarettes. Because, cigarettes, addicted to nicotine, you get onto nicotine gum, you can slowly reduce the amount of cigarettes you're taking, and it's been proven to help people. So people are like, you're pushing nicotine on people. I'm like, nah, man, that's the whole, like, if you guys watch the sponsorship deal, it was a whole, like, even the what I talked about was like, nah, it's not about that. So that I kind of was like, I shouldn't have done that. I think that's it. I can't really think of everything else. Like I've actually tried it out and enjoyed it. But yeah, I don't agree with, like, I got offered, another sponsorship for the podcast because after Golden Eagle did their sponsorship, a company came and it was a weed company. And I was like, I don't smoke weed. I don't, so why would if I had a weed product here, I'm lying to you guys. I don't use it. I don't smoke it. So at the end of the day, I just kind of let it, I was like, I don't really want to do a deal that I know I don't use. It just doesn't I would never push that, to you guys who watch and listen to me all day. Like it's not, nah, man, so Floyd be doing those things that make me like question, does he really have money? So I don't know. I could kind of believe that, hey, in Dubai, he has a lot of debts and they could do, but then again, it's like Dubai kidnapping or, basically ordering money from somebody really, really famous like that is not a good look because, if that comes back that, hey, or at least in America comes back that, hey, we have one of our most famous boxers in the world is kidnapped by people in Dubai over some money. That's going to be a bad look for Dubai. It's not going to make them look good. But this whole rumor started by some random TikToker who wears a Spider-Man hoodie who said, I have huge connections to Dubai. They're saying Floyd Mayweather got kidnapped, blah, blah, blah. So, this bullshit, this is what I'm saying. Like TikTok and just a lot of these platforms, X, whatever platform, you guys got to stop believing people with no sources at all in anything. Like they'll just say shit out their ass. The guy is wearing a Spider-Man hoodie. No disrespect if you wear Spider-Man stuff. But the guy's wearing a Spider-Man hoodie claiming he knows the richest people in Dubai and that he knows that Floyd Mayweather got arrested. Or not arrested, but kidnapped for not paying back debts that he owes. Come on. With no source, by the way. I watched the video on TikTok. No source, nothing. Just talking straight out of his Spider-Man hoodie. That's it. I'm like, come on, man. And that trickled onto this with, now with Gervonta, Davis kind of adding fuel to it. It kind of makes it seem like it's more real, but I don't know, 50 adding his fuel to it, and then 50 kind of denied it with a post he removed that I can't find, so I should have screenshot that too. Sometimes I'll miss some of these posts and I'll just forget to screenshot. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted, man. We'll see. I think Floyd Mayweather is still in Dubai. If I remember correctly, he hasn't really said anything about these things. Let me actually check Floyd Mayweather's page and see, has he posted anything about any of this stuff? Because I don't think he has. Okay, so the last post on his actual Instagram was 4 days ago, but in his stories, he's posted a lot. But it's a bunch of like products and companies. Like, look at this guy. Mayweather's selling Mayweather vapes. Come on, man. That's what I mean. Like, you don't believe Mayweather vapes. The guy is like one of the healthiest people. Boxes, does all these things. I've never seen him vape ever in my life. I've never seen a single clip of him vaping. Floyd Mayweather's vapes. Come on, man. Like, that's too much product pushing where you're just attaching your name to whatever and trying to sell things. I don't know. I don't respect it, man. To me, like, you got to have some type of respect for your name and your brand before you just start pushing a bunch of shit to people. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted to see what happens. Hopefully Floyd is not on whatever the hell. They're not keeping him over there for not paying his debts. Chicka Slim Shady. Hi, my name is... Shout out to Slim Shady, man. It turns out he's done. This is the death of Slim Shady. And Eminem has announced a new album. That's what it is. It's titled The Death of Slim Shady. And he basically, the way he announced it is he started, he basically made an appearance at the 2024 NFL draft. And usually when Eminem makes like public appearances, you can almost expect something coming out of it, like an announcement of something. Because like Eminem doesn't really, go out or do much anything. You never really see him in the public like that. So 90% of the time, he's announcing something or promoting something when he's out and about. And we got exactly that, man. He dropped a trailer, and it's called Next on Detroit Murder Files. And it's this funny, like, kind of, hey, what happened? Like, how did Slim Shady die? 50's in it, like, So let's play the clip. Let's just see, what Eminem's promoting here.
Through his complex and oft-criticized tongue-twisting rhymes, the blonde anti-hero known as has had no shortage of enemies.
I thought we were friends. He's not afraid. He's a psychopath.
Perhaps it's no surprise that the same rude lyrics and controversial antics which made him infamous may have ultimately led to his demise.
So who killed Slim Shady?
With such a wide field of potential suspects, finding his killer makes for a difficult task.
Well, whoever did it, I'd like to shake their hand one day.
The murder of Slim Shady has become one of the most infamous cold cases in American history. Join me as we recreate the events that led to his slaying, in the hopes that someone, somewhere, will come forward with the truth.
I knew it was just a matter of time for Slim.
Fuck. So at the end, Eminem, he has like his blurred out face, but then, it reveals that it's him talking, which was no surprise. You could tell by his tattoo and the voice. The voice change doesn't really hide his whatever identity. But yeah, 50 was in it, which to me, the reason why I like that is because I think 50 is going to be on the album. I would hope with him being in the trailer. Like, okay, so first, let me break down what I want from this album. First, the title, The Death of Slim Shady. Fire. Probably one of the best Eminem album titles for a minute. I think Eminem has been hitting at this. Like, there was a fan that kind of predicted, quote unquote, that, hey, this should be Eminem's next album, and she went like viral for it. But when you look at the trail of things, you can kind of see that they was going this direction. Which now, hindsight, we can tell, but like when you didn't get the title, we didn't really know. But Music to Be Murdered By was the last album. So that kind of, Music to Be Murdered By Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady, it kind of, and there's stuff like merch he was pushing, and then when he was talking about the My Name Is Anniversary music video, he was talking about like, I don't know if I could ever do a Slim Shady again or whatever. So that kind of hinted at the death of Slim Shady, that, it's not going to potentially ever come back again. But hindsight, now we could say, oh, we know what it was. But now it's like we know that, hey, he was hinting at these things, trail of little things that were saying, hey, this is my concept for the album. So one, the album title is fire. I think Eminem has a potential to deliver, dare I say, classic. I don't know if I should go that far because Eminem hasn't, to me, delivered a classic in a minute. But dare I say, a really great album, an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10. Eminem has an ability to do that in my eyes. Still. Because I like Kamikaze. I gave it, I think, an 8 or 9, somewhere around there. Kamikaze I really enjoyed. But the last couple of albums, like Revival, obviously that is Eminem's worst album. And then Music to Be Murdered By was all right. I'm not going to give it a high praise of 8 or 9. I give it like a 6, maybe 7. It's an all right album. It's good, not great, not classic, but it's a good album. It's not like, it wasn't anything too special to me. Now, this next album, Eminem has a chance to potentially, do a crazy concept of like writing from Slim Shady's perspective, or this guy coming to murder him and do like a story. Like what I liked about Relapse is it had these like skits that made it feel like a fucking movie, like a really, really well, written out movie. That's what made me like Relapse. Like he has a chance to kind of go in that Relapse potentially realm. Because, Slim Shady has that kind of thing about him where, he has these murder type of, vibes to him too. So it could be like a Relapse 2. I would love that. A Relapse type of 2 concept with Slim Shady dying. So he has, in my eyes, like if he comes with a Relapse type of concept with Slim Shady dying and telling that story of how he died, like from beginning to end, and then like 50 adding in like, like a Psycho Part 2 type of record where he's like helping kill Slim Shady and Dr. Dre's gonna, like, there's so many ways this could go. But that's the problem, is it can go left really quickly and it can be a bad album, or it can go right and be a really great album. So I'm excited. Summer 2024. I love the title. That's already got me hyped. And, with 50 being in the clip, I hope 50's on the album because of that. 50 said Dre produced some fire on there. Like 50 posted it and said, Dre's got some heat on there. So we know Dre's produced some stuff. I personally, like I said, when it was announced that when it was announced that Eminem's coming out with an album, I personally wanted an Eminem produced album with some Dre beats, stuff like that. Metro Boomin reached out after the announcement of this album. He said, "Hey, Eminem, lock in with me." I wouldn't mind a Metro Boomin. I think Metro Boomin is somebody could really not. I don't want to say save Eminem's career because it's not like his career is dead or anything, but kind of put some life more into Eminem's career. But then it's like a slippery slope where you get these newer producers and it doesn't really sound like an Eminem classic type of album. And, I would much rather like an Eminem produced album with Dre production here and there. I think when Eminem does that, it comes out perfectly. That's what Relapse was. Mainly Dr. Dre production, or I don't remember. I don't remember if it was Eminem, but that's what I want. I want a mainly Eminem produced album with some Dr. Dre production here and there. And the story to be, hey, let's tell the story of how Slim Shady dies. And the funny thing is, people are saying, hey, this is going to be Eminem's last album. This is farewell. Come on, guys. It's a fictional character that's dying. It's not, if it said like the death of Eminem or whatever, like even Eminem, like Eminem is a fictional character. Like the real person is Marshall Mathers. And we get that on like records like Mockingbird. And, so Eminem has like 3 different characters. So him killing off Slim Shady, you still got Eminem and Marshall Mathers at the end of the day. That's the way I view Eminem. He's got like these 3 different personalities, where Eminem is more like he has his things there and there. Like, I don't know how I would explain Eminem. Eminem is a good, Slim Shady's more like the crazy, killing and all this crazy type of aspect. Eminem, I don't know how to explain Eminem really that well. But Marshall Mathers, I view Marshall Mathers as somebody that talks about like his mom, the Headlights type of record, talks about his daughter Haley and Mockingbird and When I'm Gone. And that's like the more personal Eminem. Eminem is more like, I think more of a balance between Slim Shady and Marshall Mathers, like right in the middle. But yeah, I'm excited. Hey, new Eminem music. I'm hyped. Hopefully we get a new Dre album. Snoop and Dre, I think they're dropping their Missionary album. So I'm hyped. I was anticipating this month for it to be released because the album is done. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Dre was talking about, hey, we're going to the studio to listen to the album. It's completed back on the Jimmy Kimmel show, which was a while ago. So the album's done. Summer 2024 is really right around the corner. I think May summer starts or something like that, or June, something, I don't know. So it's very, very around the corner. But I think M probably had it planned for April, but saw all the stuff that's going on with Drake, Kendrick, and all this stuff, and just kind of pushed it back. That's what I'm assuming. But then again, I'm like, Eminem plans out his like, for the most part, I'm sure they plan out Eminem's releases. That's why he went to the NFL thing. It's like kind of like a little bit of a rollout. And Eminem hasn't really had any rollouts for these last couple of albums, man. He just drops them randomly. So I would like to see maybe an Eminem type of rollout, man. I think that could potentially help him with sales and just promotion. I think he's just been dropping albums without no promotion or anything, which hasn't resulted in the best sales in terms of Eminem's standards, obviously. Artists selling 200,000 first week is like a success to like 99% of artists. But Eminem doing that, or Drake doing that, or, all these artists that sell insane numbers, it's kind of like not a failure, but it's not like to the standard of what they were. But yeah, I'm excited, man, and I hope we get some great music. And the execution will be probably fire. So we'll keep our eyes posted. Continuing on, Dr. Dre reveals a major life regret, and it's very interesting. So let's play the clip.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
I know. Do you have a copy?
Um,
Please tell me you have a copy.
Not anymore.
You gave it away?
Okay, there's another story to that I'm really not proud of.
Okay.
I had a collection of records. I had over 80,000 albums that I stored in a warehouse. And
now we're getting juicy. This is what I wanted to talk about.
And at a certain point, I think it was the early 2000s, I sold all of my wax. And I'm kicking myself in the ass still about that.
Look at this face. That broke my heart. Because I was like, I asked, I was like, does he have a record player? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, I'm guessing he doesn't have a collection either.
I had a collection, but yeah.
Well, why'd you wanted to?
You know what? It was a warehouse. I had a turntable in there and a bar and everything. And then all of a sudden it just turned into a bill because I was never going.
Of course.
And I was like, okay. It took me 10 years to decide to sell. And I finally did, and I'm really pissed off at myself about that.
Yeah, that's a dumb decision by Dr. Dre. I've sold things that I regretted, and I realized, hey, keeping this stuff, as long as you're not hoarding things and like having stuff that just like are useless completely. If it's a collection of things, here's the thing, I have a Dragon Ball Z card collection, and this shit's worth astronomical amounts of money. I'm not even joking with you guys. And I collect them. And we're talking about the original Dragon Ball Z cards in America, the score cards that came out in the early 2000s. I've got ultra rares. Like one of the ultra rares I have is a Majin Vegeta ultra rare from Babidi Saga. That shit's worth. The last time I checked, a limited version with a grade scale of 9 sold for like $4,000. One of those cards. And I've got a limited and unlimited version. So I have 2 of them. Limited means there's only a limited supply that they made of them, and then unlimited is that they just made a bunch of them. So there's 2 versions of cards that and there's a stamp at the corner, the bottom right corner, that tells you, hey, this is a limited version, and then if it doesn't have a stamp, it's unlimited. So I have, but here's the thing, I have the whole set from Babidi Saga complete, from card 1 to card 123, limited and unlimited. The whole set itself, I've seen sell for like $15,000, maybe $20,000. I think, if I remember correctly, I've seen like some sets go for that amount. But this is stuff that I've collected since I was a kid and never sold, and just never, there was moments where my mom threw away a bunch of my stuff, like cards, because she was just tired of seeing cards everywhere. Like that's how much I was a card collector. She threw away, and she regrets it at this time, because I told her, I was like, listen, this would be worth a lot of stuff had you not thrown it away. I had a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were worth, like, in amazing condition, that I'm sure right now are worth a lot of money. We're talking first edition, like early 2000 stuff, not the reprinted 2023 versions and all that stuff. We're talking the original ones that came out initially. Booster boxes, like decks, everything. I had Pokemon as well. Not as much, though, because Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually played the most. I never played Dragon Ball Z, never learned how to play it. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the one that I played the most. Pokemon I played here and there. But I had Pokemon stuff. But all that stuff, I had like basketball cards that were really good as well. All that stuff my mom threw away. She just got tired of it. Luckily, the Dragon Ball Z stuff, like, I'm thankful at least somehow I saved that. I kept that like really, really close to me, that to the point where like I just didn't want any of that. So Dre doing this stuff, like why would you do that, man? Even if it costs to build the warehouse, like that stuff is probably worth a lot of money. He could have just put it at his house, man. He's a billionaire. He could make a room at his property and just have it there, just chilling. Like, he had so many options that he could do. But I guess, I mean, he just probably was like, hey, I'm paying this insane bill, just a bunch of stuff. Maybe I can make some money off of it. And, but he regrets it. I mean, and he should. That's a amazing collection that I will never sell my Dragon Ball Z card collection ever. Like, I want to keep that, God forbid, unless something happens financially where I have to sell it. That's the only time I'll even consider it. But that whole collection, I want to complete it first off, which is very, very hard. And I want to do it by getting packs, the original packs from the early 2000s. But it's so expensive now. Like, they've skyrocketed to the point where some of these booster boxes that have 36 packs or 24 packs of them are going for like $3,000-$4,000 a box. and I'm not willing to spend that kind of money. I got to figure out a way I might just have to buy the ultra rares from other people, and that's how I can complete it. I tried to avoid doing that for all these years, but some of this stuff is getting so expensive that now I can't, like, I'm not going to spend, $5,000 or $3,000 on a booster box and potentially not get an ultra rare, a good card at all. That's a chance. So it's like, why take that chance when just buy the cards, complete the set? Because I have a few sets that are missing literally one card, like Fusion Saga, Boo Saga. Like a lot of these cards I have in Dragon Ball Z that are almost complete. They're just missing a couple of cards. So if I complete the whole thing, I don't know how much that's worth. I don't think I've ever seen a whole Dragon Ball Z set from the score from the early 2000s on sale. Potentially, I've seen it, but I'm sure that would be worth $100, $150, maybe $200,000. I know the Pokemon stuff is worth like an astronomical amounts of money. The Yu-Gi-Oh stuff as well. Pokemon the most, obviously, but yeah, man. A lot of these collection things, man. Try to avoid selling them, man. Don't think that just because right now it's not anything special, that years down the line it's not going to become something special. So if you have something, or if you just like to collect certain things, man, collect them and keep them there, man. The original iPhones, they ended up selling for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. Somebody kept one wrapped, and a lot of these things, maybe an Apple Vision Pro right now at $3,500, the original Vision Pro, maybe 20, 30 years down the line, that's going to be looked at as a historical item because this is the first quote unquote introduction to virtual worlds. Who knows, man? You never know what's going to rise in value. So, I have a couple of copies of CDs of albums, of artist albums that I've never opened that I just have there. I have a Lloyd Banks Rotten Apple CD that is very hard to buy brand new. I just have it there chilling. Now, is it going to be worth hundreds of millions? I don't know, man. I'm not betting on that, but I got stuff like that where I have a Dwayne Wade signed basketball card that I won from my friend, and he got it signed from Dwayne Wade. Yeah, just it's sealed in this like really screwdriver, like has two screwdrivers in the ends of them, and it's a really tough case, and it's Dwayne Wade signed. So, I just kept it there, and you know what? Why not, man? So, yeah, Dre, I understand how you feel. I've sold some things as a kid, like a lot of action figures that we sold from Dragon Ball Z that if we would have kept now probably would have been worth a lot. Just things that you sell, you don't realize down the line is like something you really valued. So I'm never selling that. I'm going to try to transfer my Dragon Ball Z stuff all to my kids. Never selling those. So, yeah, I can agree with Dre, man. Let's get into new music. Party Next Door dropped his Party Next Door 4 album. A Boogie dropped his Alone EP. Gucci Mane dropped the Take That, which is a Diddy diss. Nardowick and Future dropped back-to-back, which Future, people are saying subliminally kind of went at Drake. Destroy Looney, Southside, and Ken Carson dropped President. Normani dropped 159 featuring Gunna. YG dropped Naka. Coi Leray dropped Can't Come Back. Thames dropped Love Me JJ. And then Young Baloo, which is Boozy Badass former artist that he's going back and forth with, dropped Jeremy, the album. Let's get into album sales. And of course, man, no surprise here. Taylor Swift completely dominated. The thing that surprised me here is the physical amount of sales she sold. So she sold first week 2,600,238 copies, which is the second highest first week sales ever. Adele did 3,380,000 first week on her album. I believe this is the 21 or 25 album, one of those. I think it was 25. The record, Hello, How You Doing? So shout out to her. Nobody, I don't think, is going to touch that for probably ever. But yeah, 2.6 million first week. And the physical sales, here's the thing that blew my mind. Physically, like these are physical albums she sold, is 1,915,964. So nobody can say, oh, it's because of streaming. It's because, like literally 1.9 million was physical CD sales. Streaming was 670,000. So people are probably running Quake. How does she sell as much in physical? Vinyls. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but a lot of people have got into vinyls, and that's what they're buying, and that's what they're using. Plus, Taylor Swift has a lot of older audience as well. A lot of old people still bump CDs in their cars. I haven't bought a CD in a fat minute, which I need to be doing more of because I actually enjoy the album packaging and stuff. But yeah, 2,600,000. To be honest with you, with the way Taylor Swift has been going, I was thinking she was going to beat Adele's 3.38 million first week. I thought she was going to break that, but hey, man, 2,600,000. She's broken everybody else. Nobody's ever matched her in that moment. Now, here's the crazy thing: Michael Jackson's Thriller. They never started counting album sales till 1991, and Thriller came out in 1984, I believe. So people have speculated that Thriller did like insane first week. We're talking like 5 million first week. I don't even know. That wouldn't be far-fetched, man. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. So, in terms of when they started counting in 1991 till now, Taylor Swift is the number 2 highest selling first week sales. Adele's got number 1 and then number 3 and all that. It's probably NSYNC and then Eminem and, so on and so forth. So, yeah, man, insane numbers. Salute to her. And what's funny, she's got another album in the top 10 still. So she's still selling albums of her old albums, and they're still in the top 10, top 20, top 30. So the amount of money she's generating is like astronomical numbers. Number 2 is Future Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You at 69,000. Beyonce, Cowboy Carter's at number 3 with 66,000. Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time is at number 4 with 63,000. Pearl Jam, Dark Matter debuted at number 5 with 60,000. Future Metro Boomin, We Still Don't Trust You at number 6 with 54,000. Noah Khan's Stick Season, number 7 with 46,000. Benson Bone, Fireworks and Rollerblades, number 8 with 39,000. Taylor Swift's Lover, that's what I'm talking about. 2 albums in the top 10 at number 9 with 38,000. And SZA SOS at number 10 with 38,000. Bunch of Taylor Swift albums, by the way. Going down, Drake For All the Dogs, number 17 with 29,000. Travis Scott, Utopia, number 19 with 28,000. Glorilla, Everything, number 25 with 21,000. 21 Savage, American Dream, number 28 with 20,000. J. Cole, Might Delete Later, number 31 with 20,000. Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday 2 at number 35 with 19,000. Kanye West, Ty Dolla $ign, Vultures at number 40 with 13,000. Drake, Take Care, number 47 with 17,000. Kendrick Lamar, Damn, at number 48 with 17,000. And then Lil Baby, My Turn, number 49 with 17,000. Shout out to Lil Baby. The My Turn album's still been on there for quite a minute. So, yeah. That's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. Please support the sponsor, powered by Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Go to drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Show them love and support. I appreciate it. Spotify, Deezer, Podcast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.